Buddhism, yes.
There's a lot of
Major ones I have.
Okay, well, there's a lot, you know.
No, but I don't need to look at all of them. Why? Because if the religion of truth was there, it would be a major religion. Why? Because if it was a minor religion, there's religions made every day, which would mean it's impossible for you to find the truth. So, do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand that. But in my personal belief, Islam is sort of created for the modern world, which was used for civilizing society back then, and it was necessary for that because it gave a modern world, it gave, technological advancements and morals and beliefs and standards for those times. And because it gave that, a lot of people had belief in it. A lot of followers started, and that's why it became so big. And that's the same with Judaism, it's the same with Christianity. So you saying, okay, it's a big religion, so I'm going to research big ones, isn't necessarily true. I'm not specifically saying.
I don't think you understood what I said then. Let me repeat what I said again. But the important point is what you're saying does not correspond to reality. I get what you're saying. And it makes sense because you have not studied Islam. So these social structures were already in place through Judaism, which you have mentioned, and Christianity, they were already there. And there were also other pagan religions in place, and there was social structures, and there was advancement in the Roman and Persian Empire. So Islam did not bring what you're claiming it did. That was not the unique thing about it. What was unique, it was the truth. But what you didn't get my point when I said it's a major religion. I was saying, if there was truth, if there's a creator and he's placed truth, that truth must be easily accessible if God wants us to find it. Or there is no point of him wanting us to find it. So, in order for it to be easily accessible, it has to be a major religion which is easily accessible. Because if it was not, there is millions of religions that are being made every day, which would mean it's impossible for anyone to find the truth. Which would mean that God did not intend anyone to find the truth to begin with. So what I'm saying, sister, is if you need to look for the truth, you would search the major ones. Because if there was no truth there, and it was somewhere else, you can easily say to God, I researched the easily accessible one. It was nothing else in front of me.
Allah made these religions more prominent so people can actually be happy.
No. Because I was just answering what you said, that I do not say to you, why do you believe in Islam, which you haven't researched X, Y, and Z. I'm saying it's fair that you research X, Y, and Z before you make any claims. That's what I think is fair personally. So I think it's fair for me to say X is true, whatever it is. In order for me to say that, I think what is fair is that I've already looked at the other things, which I have done, right? But it was not an emotional decision that I've made based on just, I like Islam, makes me feel fuzzy inside, therefore I'm going to be a Muslim, Is it like that, Because there's a law in Islam, as you know, which can be difficult, like prayer, Fajr, you have to pray in the morning to wake up. I don't know if you know about Fajr prayer or not. Fajr prayer is a dawn prayer, You have to wake up that time to pray. There's a month of fasting, Ramadan. There's a lot of acts of worship that you need to do. There are things which you cannot do. Having a girlfriend, touching a woman which is not closely related to you. There are things in Islam which someone can think they're restrictive without looking at the wisdom behind them.
What do you think about where different types of Muslims have conflicts with each other, when you have the core values and beliefs set in Islam that are not supposed to be as violent, and there's conflicts between Shias and Sunnis and a lot more other types of Muslims?
The answer to me is quite simple.
I'm just asking, sorry. No.
Oh, sure. Sorry?
I'm just asking so I can get more.
Oh, no. I'm saying right now the answer to me is quite simple. And it is that I separate individuals from the religion structure. I don't care what people do. People can do whatever they want to do. But what does the religion say? Is the religion coherent, consistent, have evidences for its truth and its divine origin? Or is the religion itself telling you to do these things which you are finding problematic? So if the religion is telling me, be good, be kind to other people, don't kill, fight those only who fight you, defend yourself, and I go kill people and persecute them, then to me I cannot blame Islam for these individual actions. I would look at what Islam says and I would say, you know what, Islam is telling you to do the opposite. Someone is driving and there's a driving law, it's a perfect driving law, it's telling you please when it's red stop, don't be an idiot, and you're just breaking the light, hitting people. I cannot then say, oh, the driving law is incorrect. I would say the person is incorrect, the driving law is fine, right or wrong. So it's the same in Islam. So I don't bother much on what these people are doing, because Islam is giving a structure to what is truth. What is truth is coherent, and it's telling you what you should do and what you shouldn't do. Whether you adopt it or not, just because it happens that you're born in a Muslim family or someone says you are a Muslim, doesn't mean what you do is a representation of Islam. You get the point?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, coming back to where we are, coming back to our point. So, what are you both? What are you right now? Agnostic? What are you?
I'm more agnostic.
What are
I'm
you?
an atheist.
Okay. So you would incline one into atheism. How would you define atheism?
I'm so necessarily I wouldn't say atheist. I'm a lot more. I don't want to say spiritual because it sounds really cringy and like like a kind of thing.
That's what people say in the West. So it makes sense that you say that because you're
No,
influenced by them.
Exactly, but I don't want to say it. That's why I'm saying I don't want to say it.
But you're still influenced by them anyway.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
Yes.
I don't think that I should have a set I am Muslim or I am Christian kind of thing. I will believe what I want to believe and if I find comfort in Allah and if I believe that these laws are correct, I will follow. And it's kind of taking in any religion and anything being open to all. And that's kind of how I kind of go along my life. So it's not really atheist, as in I don't believe in Allah, I don't believe in God, but it's kind of being able to.
But that's agnostic in a sense as well. Because if you
Yeah,
were
but-
to find that which suits what you're looking for, you would follow it.
So
Which
the-
means you are on the fence.
I don't think is the definition of agnostic is a lot of uncertainty, whereas with me it's not uncertainty. I know what I want to believe in, I know what I don't want to believe in. With
Okay, that's fine.
agnostic,
That's fair enough.
a
That's
lot
fair
bit
enough.
more uncertain.
It's fair enough. You're saying is correct. As agnostics comes from anostos in Greek, which means without knowledge. So you're saying is correct. There's no problem in what
I
you're
have
saying.
a question, just because I looked at my university exam. But what do you think about how, with the West, they have viewed Islam with violence? How, when they think of Islam, make 5 bullet points, one of the ones would be violence, How do you think that's come about, and why do you think,
Well, I think because Islam, as simple as this, because Islam is the truth, it is being attacked by many people, right? Because if something does not have substance,
Yeah.
is not truth, you would not bother yourself by trying to attack that or making a bad image of it, right? So because Islam is true, and it goes against Western values, quote unquote, yeah,
Yeah.
you have to be very, very important there, yeah. So that is why they are fighting Islam. Like Islam says, don't have a casino, you don't have sexual immorality, you don't drink alcohol. How many businesses are based on that? Islam says don't use interest and usury. Every bank in the world is based on that. So the more people follow Islam, the less people benefit the capitalistic society. Therefore, the capitalistic society, who actually has power in the world today, has to make a bad image of Islam to push people away. But what happens is the opposite. The more they push people away, the more people accept Islam. That's why it's the biggest growing religion in the world, according to Pew Research. So it's conversion rate, not birth rate. So people are accepting it willingly. Why? Because they hear so much evil, they come to us, like we're very busy as you can see.
Yeah.
And then we have a discussion with them. And these people realize that actually Islam is true, Islam is good, and they start following it themselves.
Do you think it's more of a comfort thing?
No, I think Islam is true. That's why I said to you, sister, it's not about feelings, because you were saying to me just feelings. And you can have so many wrong feelings about so many wrong things, yeah? If you live in this society, I'm sure you've had so many experiences where you felt certain things and they were not right, okay? So if you use what you're doing, using your feelings as a parameter for truth, it's not a right thing to do, I would say personally. I would say it's a very vague parameter of truth because it's absolutely not stable. Do you get the point? So what I'm using is something completely different. I'm using what is consistent, what is logical, what is evidence-based, is what I'm going to accept, whoever it is, whether that be Christianity, Hinduism, Islam, bring me anything. If it has substance and value, it has evidences to its divine origin, it has answers to the questions that are being put forward, then that makes sense, and this is true, then I should follow that. Yeah? Now, okay, let's talk about, for example, the existence of a creator. Leaving feelings aside, can something come into existence from nothing? Can something come into existence from nothing?
I suppose not.
What about you? What do you think?
No.
Okay, so we don't believe like I can be a magician now and bring gold from nothingness, right? So we don't believe that something comes into existence from nothing. By nothing, I mean the absence of energy, space, matter, everything. Is nothing, literally, no thing, absence of something. So we cannot have something from that because there's no agency, there's no change will take place because there's no force, right? So we are saying that the universe now is in existence and it has a starting point. Can we have the universe from nothing using the same logic? Can I have something from nothing? We cannot have a universe from nothing, can we? Okay, so the universe has to come from something or somewhere. Yeah?
What do you think about Islam has been introduced then, but not before?
We
Why-
don't believe that.
Do you think Islam?
No, every Muslim believes that Islam started with Adam, first human being. Islam, do you know what the word Islam means? Islam means to submit to your creator and maker. Muslim is submitter, if I translate it word for word to the English. So Islam, when Adam was submitting to Allah's laws, he was a Muslim. And if you check history, actually, you'd see that Islam was always there. Like, for example, Abraham was not Christian or Jewish because there was no gospel or Torah, there was no Moses yet, and there was no Isaac, and there was no Judah. So what religion did Abraham follow? Abraham submitted to his Lord. Every religious person who believes in Abraham will say, yes, he did. God told him, slaughter your son. He took his own son. So there is no more submission than this, right? So Abraham was submissive to God. Do you know how he prayed? He fell on his face. Muslims pray like this. Do you know where circumcision comes from? It comes from Abraham. Not eating pork, all of these things, they trace back to Abraham. And even before Abraham, we believed in Noah and Adam. And we believe these things were present. And the message was already there, believing in one creator, from the time of Adam, before Christianity was ever known to humanity or Judaism. So Islam was there from point A. And that is supported by historical evidence anyways. That there was monotheism first before, unlike what the West is trying to push forward anyways. So that's what we believe. Islam was always there. But coming back to the point of existence of a creator, because it's an essential point, which is can lead you to where you have to go. So the universe has to come from somewhere. If the universe has to come from somewhere, we say that this table, for example, is impossible for you to manufacture it and make it without the necessary material. You agree? It's impossible. It's impossible for you to create the universe without the necessary attributes to create the universe or bring it into existence. Yeah, create and bring it into existence are synonymous, anyways. Yeah. So if I want to bring the universe into existence, I would need power that's not comprehensible from a human aspect, wisdom and knowledge that is not comprehensible from a human aspect. I would need to be independent of it before it, and I would need to be not restricted by its laws. Because I start its laws. Yes. What do you want to say?
So I also believe everything has a creator, or something that creates, because you can't magically appear.
Everything created has a creator.
Yes, exactly. But necessarily, does it have to be Allah? So what is there to say it is Allah? There's a lot of history with it.
The answer to that would be, now when you say everything, you're referring to the universe.
Yes. Yeah.
And in order for the universe to come into existence, it has to come from somewhere, as I said. If that somewhere has the attributes that I told you, then that somewhere will be what we define to be Allah. You understand? So there is something that created the universe. It cannot create the universe without these attributes. And whatever has these attributes, Muslims refer to it as Allah. Do you understand? It's a basic concept, right? So that would answer what you're saying. We say whatever created the universe needs these attributes. And if anything has these attributes, we call that thing God or Allah. Therefore, we say Allah created the universe from that aspect. Now, because these are attributes of the creator, right? So now if you want to say, why is Islam true? That's a different question. You get the point I'm trying to say. But we still have to submit to the idea there has to be something with these attributes, which is our common attributes for God, for any religion. Any religion believes in these core attributes. Powerful in a way you can understand, intelligent in a way you can understand, independent and created the world, right? And has a will to initiate an act. All of them believe in these things, right? So from that point of view then, would you agree with me that there must be a creator, and you cannot then come from the perspective saying that there is no creator? Yes. So that's what we say as Muslims. This is where I come from a logical base. Without using Quran or Islam or anything, you'd have to accept this idea, right? Then if there is a creator, when I create something, I give it purpose. When I made this phone, the person who made this phone, he gave it the purpose for you to use it for communication, research, and this and that, right? Is the purpose. It's given by the manufacturer or the maker. Also, no one knows about the phone more than the manufacturer, right? So the manufacturer gives you a manual, do this and don't do that because this is good and this is bad for the phone, right? Now we say if we're created by a creator, then it follows necessarily as well. That creator is the one who gives us the purpose because he's the one who brought us into existence, right? Because he's the one who brought us into existence. And we would say that the creator would be the best person to tell us what is good and bad for us because he's the one who created us and he knows everything about us. Does that make sense? Okay. So this is where Islam comes into the picture. So Islam is a revelation that comes from the Creator to tell you what is your purpose in life, what you're doing here, and what's going to happen to you when you die. And it is also telling you the good and bad moral aspects of life.
What do you think about Muslims who eat pork and have premarital sex or smoke and drink?
They're sinners, that's it, but they're Muslims.
Okay. So are you still classified as Muslims?
It's not me who does it, but it's the religion. Yeah, it's the religion that does. And the religion has specific things that can take you out of the fold of Islam. If you do not do them, then you're still a Muslim. So if you do them, then we call that person as not a Muslim, right? But if you do, because we believe every human being makes sense, including Muslims, right? So, but the reason is why you're doing these things, I would personally say it's out of your own ignorance. You do not know why these things are prohibited in Islam. You do not understand the wisdom behind them. That would be the only reason for you to do them. If you truly understood these things, you would not be doing these things. That's what I would say.
I have another question, and I'm not sure the full story about it.
No problem.
So I will just assume that I know, but I think it was Mohammed, I could be wrong, where they went to a cave and saw signs on the walls, the cave walls, is that right?
I'm just letting you tell me the story first.
I'm not too sure about it, that's
Yes.
why. Where he went to a cave and there was...
Prophet went to a cave, he was meditating there,
and there
he
was
got
signs,
revelation there.
There was like pictures on the walls.
No. No.
I'm not too sure about it, I'm asking.
No. Prophet Muhammad lived with these people for 40 years. These people knew him as the trustworthy, the honest. Those titles they gave him, Sadiq al-Amin, literally. They called him the trustworthy, the honest. When they had disputes, they used to go back to him. Because they trusted his judgment. And they knew he was not biased towards anyone. He's just sincere with everyone, right? Then his people used to worship idols. He believed that worshipping idols is not correct. Idols, you make them with your own hand. If you make them with your own hand, you can destroy them with your own hand. So he used to move away from his people, go to a cave called Cave of Hira. Ghar Hira, cave of Hira, yeah? Then what he used to do is he used to meditate or try to worship the Creator. Try to worship the Creator. What happened is he had an encounter with what we call Angel Gabriel. Angel Gabriel, who by the way, angels, we don't believe they're women with wings and this and that, yeah?
Yeah.
Believe angels are a creation. We do not comprehend as humans, they're a completely different realm, right? So Angel Gabriel came to the Prophet to give him the message, and he received the first revelation of the Quran there. He was terrified. He went back to his wife because he didn't know what happened to him, and he said, "Zammiluni, cover me." So his wife covered him. Then he said, "I'm feeling something bad is happened to me." She said to him, "No, by God, nothing bad will happen to you because you are good to everyone. You tie your ties of kingship. You give people. You help the poor. You feed the poor, right?
Yeah.
So God will never do anything evil to you." Then he explained to her what happened. She took her to one of her cousins called Dawah ibn Nawfal, who was a Christian, or someone a Christian in a sense, yeah?
Yeah.
So he used to read the biblical scriptures and things like that, and he used to translate them. So he told him that this is the same angel that came down on Moses, and he told him, "You're a messenger, the angel that comes to the messengers, and the people will kick you out. People are going to kick you out when you preach to them. I wish I was there to support you." So he said, "Will they kick me out? I just told you this. You call him the honest, the trustworthy. Why would they kick him out?" He was surprised. He said, "Yes, they will kick you out because every messenger was kicked out by his people when he brought the idea of worshiping from God. So when he went and he preached to his people, he said to them, if there is a mountain behind, if there is an army behind this mountain, if I told you there's an army behind this mountain, would you believe me?" He said, "Yes." He said, "I'm the messenger of God." He said, "We don't believe you." Why? Because they said, "Leave the religion of your forefathers," and they wanted to follow the religion of their forefathers. So that's the basic, this is the start of revelation in Islam. But the Quran comes down in 23 years period. So it didn't all come down in the cave of Hira like some people think. No, it came in 20 years, right? The first revelation was Surah Iqra, and it was happening in that cave.
So a little bit backstory. I'm Turkish. I'm from Turkey.
Sure.
And I'm
You?
Bangladesh.
That's what I thought, yeah. You look Bangladeshi, that's
and
right.
I'm named after a woman called Elefana, who died around just like 10, 15 years ago.
Okay.
But she was viewed as a person who can foresee the future, not in like a spiritual, mystical kind of way, but as in like something bad's gonna happen, like we should like that kind of thing.
Very vague things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was more things from that she had like signs from God for her, and then she would be like, "Hey, this is what it is."
That's what she claimed.
Okay, exactly. So I'm making this is like from home. I'm making this to the prophets. Do you think that's also the same kind of analogy from Elefana and these prophets, where they came to I claim this and this is true?
First, how old are you guys? You seem young. How old are you?
21.
19.
19. Okay, I thought you were younger than this. Good. So, what I would say is the following, which is something that is proof. Let's use it as proof. As Prophet Muhammad was a prophet. So we talked about existence of God already. Yeah. If I bring you evidence that Prophet Muhammad is a prophet, then logically we should accept that he was a messenger. Would you agree?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. If I bring you compelling evidence.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, future point. Can someone tell you about the future with the following criteria? Clear claims about the future, not self-fulfilling. Meaning I don't say I'm going to drop the book, then I drop it myself, yeah? I don't fulfill the prophecy myself. Claims which are numerous, not one or two, because you can make a lucky guess. Before the event took place, the Prophet made the prediction before the event took place. Okay? And all the predictions are correct, none of them are false. Can anyone tell us about the future with this criteria in place? Elifana hasn't, definitely, but can anyone do that? Okay, if Prophet Muhammad were to do that, is that evidence that he's a messenger of God or not? And he says it's not my knowledge, it's the knowledge of the creator of the universe who's not bound by present, past and future. He knows everything. And if he were to bring this criteria, would you say that's compelling evidence that he's a messenger of God or not? Yes or no? Okay, no, why not? If he was able to do it, why are we not able to do it? And if he's not a messenger, how would he was able to do it then?
Then why would you say Elifan is a messenger?
Sorry?
Why would you say Elifan is a messenger?
Because she doesn't fit the criteria. If her predictions are not before the events, if she made mistakes, that would mean that it's not from God, because God doesn't make mistakes.
But apparently she didn't make mistakes.
Do you see the criteria that I said?
She made them before.
No, but in order for you to say that, you have to have had research what she said. Can you tell me her claims of the future, is it written down? And if it's written down, okay, so it's just word of mouth.
Yeah.
Okay, but we have written down events, written down predictions before they take place.
What if?
And we have a system of knowing that they were before coming into
If
place.
she was to write these down, this is all not factual, but if she was to,
Yes.
1,000 years from now, some person could say, I believe in this Elefana woman because she wrote them down and these predictions are coming true.
Yes.
Right?
With the criteria, all of it, not just before the events.
Then would you say this woman is similar to, I don't know if it's the right to compare to a prophet? But
No
would you
problem,
say-
yeah. I would say this woman is, if she claimed to be a prophet, she is a prophet. Because logically, if we are in a universe, we're bound by the laws of the universe. Cannot access the future because we're bound by the laws of time and space. But the creator who created the universe is not bound by the laws of time and space. So he can tell someone about something that is going to happen in the future. So if she did every time make numerous claims and all of them happen, which is not possible, and this is the claim we're making, there is no one in the history who done it except Prophet Muhammad, which gives him the qualification to be called the messenger of God. But I'm asking you still, why are you then saying it is not sufficient criteria? Why?
I don't know.
Okay, but then you have to be consistent, right? Logically. If they don't have an answer, then you should accept if it's logically making sense, right? That if he wasn't a messenger, he would not access this. It's impossible because it's not in our boundaries as human beings. If he did, then that is evidence that he's a messenger, for we should believe he's a messenger and accept his claim. By the way, that's just one of the evidences in Islam that I'm giving you, yeah? Now, well, and I'm telling you, because you brought prophecies into the idea, Prophet Muhammad did actually do that. And I can give you some of his prophecies if you want. So he said, for example, you will see the Bedouin. Do you know Bedouins? Bedouins are Arabs who live in the desert.
Okay, yeah.
They have tents and they don't have buildings and civilization. He said you will see the Bedouin barefoot Arabs. Bedouin Arabs, you will see them building the tallest building. Where's the tallest building in the world? Dubai, Burj Khalifa. Now, he said that 1,400 years ago. He said that it's one of the signs of the last day that you'll see Bedouin barefoot Arabs doing this. 1,400 years prior to it. 50 years ago, Dubai was a desert.
Yeah, I know.
Why did it change?
I was
happened?
going to ask, do you think it changed because they read the Quran and they're
That's the point I was coming to. I know what you're thinking, but that's the point I was coming to. I'm saying, why did it change? How did it change? They found oil.
Yeah.
The Prophet said that the earth will puke its treasures and money will become abundant to the new. So he didn't only tell them what they will be doing, but he gave the reasoning behind how they will be able to do what they did. And oil was not of value in the past. It's today because of the equipment that we have. So how would he know that? If he was not a messenger of God. Okay, Prophet Muhammad said that, you know, the countries that are Muslim today, there was a battle Prophet Muhammad had. It was called the Battle of the Trench, because they had a trench. There was an army attacking them. There was outnumbers 3-1. And then they had a treaty with the Jews behind them, which betrayed them. So they were hungry, starving. The Prophet tied a rock on his belly from the amount of hunger that he had. They were trying to build a trench because one of his companions suggested that they do that. Yeah. Then when they were building that trench, they're supposed to be attacked. They don't know if they're going to live tomorrow or not. Prophet Muhammad made predictions about countries that Islam will enter in the future. Imagine in that situation, you don't know if you're living tomorrow or not, and you're telling your companions, he said, I see the Rome being opened. I see the palaces of it. I see Persia. Do you know what Rome and Persia was? You are someone without any military knowledge, without anything. You have just a bunch of followers. You don't know if you're going to live tomorrow. You're outnumbered, right? You're ambushed. And you're telling them the biggest empires of the time, which is the Roman and Persian Empire, you Muslims will overtake these, will conquer them. He was telling the Muslims he will do that. An atheist historian, he said this is paramount to the Eskimos, saying we're going to conquer USA and Russia. What is the possibility of that taking place? Yeah?
Sorry, can I just grab one? Is that okay?
Yeah, I'll give you before you go. Don't worry. I'll give you before you go.
And I also wanted to say,
Yes.
a reason that my personal belief of Islam isn't
Forbidden as well, I'm going to give
isn't
her.
here right now is because my home country was taken over because of the Christian majority royal countries and Muslim Islam majority countries taking over our land, right? And all of these different.
I find that funny, but I'll let you finish.
No, carry on.
Because I don't agree with this term, our land or his land or my land. Anyways,
Yeah.
I think that as long as, look, you're living in a place and I didn't kick you out of your own home, me taking the rulership of a place is not me taking your land. Because for example, sorry, I'm interrupting you. Because the Muslims were being persecuted in the lands that you're referring to. So the reason Islam, leave Christianity now and what they did and the persecution they did, I'm not defending them. I'm talking about Islam here. I'm here, I was a Muslim defending Islam. So when Islam went there, it was because the people were being persecuted in these lands. So they were trying to help the people who are being persecuted in these lands. First, hear the message of the truth. Two, prevent the persecution that was happening to them by the morals of Islam. You get the point? So it was not like the Muslims didn't go and say, "Yo, okay, this is your house, no, go outside, it's my house
The reason
now."
I said it's like our land is
Yes,
because within this land, there's a lot of genocides against the I'm Kurdish. There's a lot of genocides against them, a lot of massacres within this land against them to try and ethnically cleanse them. So that's why they took over our land, because it was a way of getting into that land and ethnically cleansing everyone inside that land.
Yes, but Muslims didn't do that. If someone did that, then I would agree with you.
Muslims didn't do. Actually, no. Muslims did. So.
You wouldn't be here then if they ethnically cleansed you. You wouldn't.
And that's why my parents.
Do you know what ethnic cleansing is?
And that's why my parents were immigrants who fled from this, so they wouldn't die.
But are there Kurdish Muslims there or not?
There are.
So the ethnic cleansing, sister, means that you remove the ethnicity
Yes.
from the land. You cleanse the land from the ethnicity.
So I'm from the Turkish side, right?
Yes.
There has been more massacres towards Kurdish religion specifically by a Muslim country, right?
Anyways,
you are not secular. They are. Their laws are from Muslims.
Anyways, let me tell you something important, Elifano, because we are making historical claims first. I would need to ask you for references for what you're talking about, because I don't agree that this took place. There's no ever ethnic cleansing that took place. If it did, as I said, there would be no Kurdish or Turkish.
An attempt of ethnic cleansing.
No, okay, that's another claim. So we would have to.
It's not a claim. It is.
I understand that I agree that Muslims entered there and they ruled. I don't disagree with that. But you claiming that what they were doing is that they were saying, for example, you leave the country because you are Turkish or you're Kurdish, you would have to give me evidences for that. Which historian says what you're saying? Can you name me one?
Massacres and genocides, are you asking for?
No, I'm asking for the ethnic cleansing that was taking place. Can you name me one historian, one academic historian, reliable one, which claimed that Muslims were doing this? Christians is not my point. If you claim Muslims are doing this, you have to give me at least one historian saying that.
I personally, off the top of my head, I could not do that, but I'm
sure. What I would advise you to do is to go read the history, not from Muslims. You don't have to read it from Muslims. Read it from people who are not biased towards any religion, and they're just giving you a historical point of view.
That is a little bit controversial, just because the history did happen, and it's kind of like, did it really happen? Yes, it did. And
I'm not contesting whether history happened or not, but I'm saying
because if my uncle and granddad died, and it did happen because they were this religion and this.
Your uncle and grandfather, there was no Muslim empire at that time.
No. The Sabbath massacre happened in the late 1900s.
So okay, there was no Muslim nation at that time, anyways.
By Turkey, who's influenced by Muslims.
No, that's a claim now. You say they were influenced by Muslims. I'm saying to you, there was no, like the Ottoman Empire died before what you're talking about. The Ottoman Empire, which actually Muslims was one structure, where there was a caliphate. You know, a caliphate, a leader of the
Yeah,
Muslims,
I know.
that died way before what you're talking about.
If that
So
is-
if you're saying, if you want to put a responsibility of Islam on that, as I said to you, I separate between the people and the religion. Like if it was a Muslim caliphate, then maybe I might look at the claim, but still I separate between what they do, unless it was justified by the scripture. But what you're claiming, sister, is a bunch of people, so-called Muslims, did it. That doesn't mean anything, sister. You know, I cannot blame Islam. I cannot blame Islam based on what someone did something wrong. He did a genocide or did something. The Armenian genocide. I'm not justifying anything which happened, which is un-Islamic by a Muslim. That's what I said to you from the beginning. Before you bring these things, yeah. But you have to be objective. You cannot base your feelings just because someone misused something which is true. You cannot push away that something which is true instead of blaming the person who's doing wrong. What you should do is to blame the individual who's doing wrong, right? Like there's so many Muslims that didn't do what you're talking about, right? If just a group of Muslims did it, then you cannot blame everyone and religion. So that's what I'm saying to you, sister, right? So it has to be rationality. So I'm saying right now, if Prophet Muhammad did, and I'm giving you examples of predictions of the future like this, would you accept he's a messenger or not?
I suppose I would.
Okay. How about you?
For me personally, I don't doubt that there is a God,
Good.
but for me, it's more so I disagree with a lot of the core values of Islam.
Okay, let me deal with that point then. Let me deal with that point. Now, if I say to you, what's your name?
Mansoor.
Mansoor. Really? Okay. I know another Mansoor is Bangladeshi. You know his name is Mansoor and he's from Bangladesh. So, sorry, coming back to what I'm saying. Where do you get your morality from?
I don't really base it off of anything. It's just a blend, you know. It's just my own personal beliefs, what I find to be right and wrong. And
Would you agree that is influenced by your society and your upbringing?
To an extent.
There's no doubt about that, right? It would be influenced by your society and your upbringing. So if you're basing now, what you're doing is you're making moral judgment over a religion that has evidence to its divine origin, which has objective morality, and you are using subjective criteria that has been influenced by Western society. So whatever moral thing, look, I'm not dealing with the moral claim specifically, I'm giving you an overview of what you're doing, right? Which then shows you that what you're doing is not logically valid. You get the point? If you're coming from a subjective moral criteria that is influenced by society, if you were in a different society, you believe otherwise. And your subjective morality is not enforceable, meaning it's just what you believe is right or wrong. Someone else can believe the same thing is to be wrong or right. That would mean that there is no morality really. It's just a construct of the mind based on your societal upbringing. So on what basis, what criteria are you using to disagree with Islamic morality? What standpoint are you coming from?
It's not a particular standpoint. It's more so just my own personal beliefs. It's what do you call it?
Where does it come from? You get the point. It comes from a Western influential society.
Also,
If you lived all your life in Bangladesh, which I'm assuming you haven't, I'm assuming you were born here, and you lived your life here, and you studied in university. I can tell you all of that about you without meeting you. So that's what you did, and because you did that, you have the values that they have, and I was telling her as well, when she mentioned spirituality. Subconsciously, you have that without knowing. So you're disagreeing is just you're disagreeing based on an idea of Assalamu alaikum. You're disagreeing on a basis of a liberal Western moral framework, which is subjective.
Not entirely.
Give me an example of something you disagree with.
I disagree with stoning to death.
Stop here. Stop here. Yes, stoning to death because of what? Anything. But many countries today have a death sentence. Why does it matter?
I don't agree with death sentence.
Oh, you don't agree with this sentence at all. So if I go and let's assume I did what the guy who was in Germany did. We don't even need to mention his name. And I killed 7 million Jews or something like that. Yeah. You believe I should not have a death sentence. Is that what you're saying? If I go to the park and then rape little children up day and night, families of little children, you believe I don't deserve to die?
It's slightly
I see what you're saying, but here's the thing.
No, he
right?
said he doesn't believe in death sentence at all.
I know,
I'm saying
but
in any scenario.
with stoning to death, why are they stoning to death?
No, I'm gonna answer why, but no, you're staying. I'm gonna answer. Yeah, Khalid is with me and he was in the UK.
Isn't it
Shouldn't it be
disbelief?
shouldn't it be from the perspective that that it should be in the hands of Allah, not the hands of us?
But it is in the hands of Allah. Look, if I'm the ruler and I tell you, what's your name?
Mansoor.
Mansoor again, sorry I forgot. If I tell you, Mansoor, go slap this guy in the face, still in my hands. You're just enforcing my judgment, right? We are saying that the ruling of stoning comes from Allah, right? So we are just people who are enforcing that law which is already in place. So we agree with you. It should be to Allah. We're not the ones who determine that. It's an objective morality that comes from Allah. Allah is the one who determined X should have the punishment of Z. And Allah said that laymen should not implement it. It has to be an Islamic society and the government has to apply it. Do you understand? But again, do you agree with the capital punishment for certain crimes or not? Even on a liberal point of view, you would find the fathers of liberalism saying that they agree with the capital punishment. Like John Stuart Mill and John Locke. If you read the writings, they say that it does make sense and it is needed as a deterrent in society for certain crimes like treason. Yeah? So, and it exists in America and many other countries. Do you get the point? So there are death sentences for certain crimes. It all depends on the gravity of the crime and who is determining the gravity of the crime is high or low. Yeah?
So you're saying it's subjective?
I'm saying it is objective from an Islamic point of view, but even if you look at it from a liberal point of view, it becomes subjective, and then there is measurement, and who is measuring it? This is the subjectivity. You understand? In one land we say this is the gravest crime on a liberal point of view. On another land they say it's not. Like for example, they were putting the homosexuals to death before the 1960s. Now, if you just talk about them and burn a flag, they put you in prison for 20 years. You get the point? It's a complete up and down of what they used to say. The point is very subjective. They used to believe X on a liberal framework, and it changed to Z. You understand what I'm saying? I'm saying right now, you have to be precise because you're talking about Islam. So now would you agree with me that a punishment of a death sentence punishment is reasonable for certain crimes? Would you agree? Certain crimes.
I can see how it's reasonable, but I would still disagree with it.
Sure, but that would be an emotional point of view. Do you get the point?
I see it as logical, not emotional.
Sorry?
I see it as logical. Because maybe it shouldn't be in our hands, and there could also be,
But I answered that point. I said it's not in our hands. It is determined by the Creator.
Okay.
We're just implementing it. So why is it? Where is the logic behind not having it?
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Do you agree what I'm saying? Yeah? Okay. So we're saying it's logically consistent. Now the question is, which specific punishments that you think that you don't agree with, for example, when it comes to stoning? Do you have something in mind?
Say something like adultery.
Okay, let's say adultery, no problem. Very good example. Now, can you tell me what is the criteria for us to stone someone in a Sharia state if they commit adultery?
I believe it's stoning to death if you...
What do we need as evidence for that to happen?
Witness statements?
Sorry?
Witnesses?
Of who? How many?
3? How many? I don't know. I don't know.
Sure. So you need to know what we need in order for us to apply. And I'll tell you something, I've not come across a single case in Islamic history, 1,400 years, of stoning to death where the evidence is established. Because the criteria is so strict. Allah put the punishment just as a deterrent, but people don't research the criteria, and that's the point, they just deterred. I'll tell you the criteria now. So the criteria is the following. There has to be 4 male practicing Muslim men. So 4 males that are Muslims that are practicing the religion. Why practicing? For example, they cannot look in the window and see someone committing adultery because you cannot spy. Allah tells you not to spy. So if you are a practicing Muslim, you didn't spy. If you spied, your testimony is not accepted because you are going against Islamic rulings. Yeah?
Why male?
Sorry?
Why male?
Male is Islamic judgment. That's what Islam says. Yes. So 4 male practicing Muslim men. Yeah. So even 4 females say it, there is nothing will happen. You see. So 4 male practicing Muslim men, they have to witness the act of penetration. So you don't see her entering someone's home. No. They have to see penetration with their own eyes. And then they have to willingly testify. They go and testify. X, Y, and Z took place. Now, this is impossible unless you do it in the street, in a public place. Right? Which even in this country you would have offenses of public indecency. Yeah? Now, so that's why I have not come across a single case where that happens. But there are people who came and said, we want to be punished. Like Muslims, we want to be purified, we believe in the Islamic morality, we've done bad and I want to be punished. But I have not seen a single case of it being applied. Why? Because Allah put that criteria because He doesn't want to punish. Allah says in the Quran, مَا يَفْعَلُ اللَّهُ بِعَذَابِكُمْ. What would Allah do with your punishment? He's the creator, He doesn't need to punish you or anyone. You get the point? But Allah put it in a society to deter people from doing that because you do not see the great gravity of that crime. When you commit adultery, when you break a family, when children are going to the streets, not having a family structure, there's so much things you're not seeing in that image. You think of it as just a simple lust that someone did something. No, there's much more to it. You get the point?
Yeah,
It can destroy society from within. That's why it's a big crime. That's why there is a big flag that Islam puts, which is, it's stoning. But then if you go into the details, you'll see that Islam is so tolerant to the extent that you cannot even imagine. So this comes to apostasy. What else do you have?
Just to clarify it one more time. So you're saying the reasoning behind adultery being such a great crime is because it erodes family structure, right?
No, I'm saying the reasoning is Allah said it is bad. But a wisdom we can see, from our human perspective, this is some of the wisdoms we can see. You get the point?
Yeah.
Like I can tell you something without telling you the wisdom, but you look at it, you realize, actually this guy is very wise. This is the wisdom behind why he was telling me not to do that. You get the point? So we can see some wisdoms. This is some of the wisdoms we see. There's probably much more. This is some of the wisdoms that you see in society. It can destroy a woman's life. She can commit suicide. It's because she loved someone so much and he cheated on her, and that happens. I don't need to tell you, right? That happens. People commit suicide. Sometimes they kill their partner because they know that he cheated on them. So you might not see the gravity of the crime. If you look at the statistics and what it causes in society, you would realize there's so much wisdom behind that rule. Yeah? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what else do you have?
I'm sorry to cut it short, but we do need to.
Yeah. Wait one
So
time.
sorry.
Sure. Anyways.
We'll definitely have a conversation about it on our way home as well.
Sure. Anyways, my advice to you is I invite you both to Islam, 100%, because this is what I'm trying to do here, right? If it makes sense to you, if it's consistent, take the step. It has to come from you. If it's logically consistent, I'm here. You can come any Saturday. I'm happy to have discussions with you. But as I said, try to be logical and look at the points of view, look at the evidences. You will always arrive to the conclusion that Islam is the truth, which is what I have done, yeah? Now, this book here, because I told you about prophecies, I didn't give you many, yeah? This book here will have some of the prophecies. And chapter 1 would have the criteria and false prophets, like you were telling me about Elifana, yeah?
Perfect. Thanks so much.
This is where Prophet Muhammad's prophecy starts, and this is false prophets. You can read the book if you like, yeah?
Perfect.
So, if you have any questions, come back from me, I'm happy.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I don't know.
Nice talking to you. Yes.
What is the camera?
It is just for a YouTube channel, do you mind? It is just my own personal YouTube channel. I'll just put discussions with different people about religion.
I personally prefer not to.
That's fine. Can blur the face and this and that. It's no issues.
Yeah, that face would be great.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. No problem. No
Perfect.
problem. Yeah.
Thanks so
Nice talking
much.
to you guys. See you.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you. I'm not gonna blur it. I'm not gonna blur it. Why?